Hi, my name is Bryan, and today we're talking about the Allen-Bradley Micro800. It's a fantastic little controller, we all know that, but its real power and its true potential get unlocked when you start adding specialized plug-in modules. So today, we're going to dive in how to do that strategically. So, if you're a systems integrator, an automation pro, you've been here, right? You've got this great compact controller, but you picked the wrong I/O strategy, and suddenly your panel is just a tangled mess of wires. You've got unexpected costs popping up and a bunch of headaches that, of course, you only discover during commissioning when the pressure's on. So here's our game plan. First, we'll tackle the problem, the Micro800's capability gap. Then we'll look at why plug-in modules are, frankly, the best answer. We'll meet the specific spectrum controls lineups designed to fix this, do a real deep dive comparison, and then wrap it all up with the big so what. Okay, let's get right into it. The Micro800's capability gap. And look, this isn't a flaw in the controller, it's actually a feature. This thing is intentionally lean by design, and that's the key thing to get your head around. Rockwell designed the Micro800 with the idea that you would extend it. It's a solid foundation, but it's not supposed to do everything right out of the box. If you don't plan your add-ons right, that's when you get those commissioning nightmares we talked about. Imagine, you're on site, the clock is ticking, and you're trying to troubleshoot this crazy web of external signal conditioners and gateways. Not fun. And these are the usual suspects, the most common gaps you run into. You might need to talk to an HVAC system using BACnet, or maybe you have to connect a wild mix of thermocouplers and RTDs, or maybe you need to measure a bunch of those cheap NTC thermistors, or even switch a heavy-duty heater directly. You could even need to log data on a machine that doesn't have a constant network connection. The base controller just can't do these things on its own. Which brings us to the solution. Section 2, why plug-in modules? Because this is really the most elegant and efficient way to fill those gaps we just talked about. So let's compare. On one hand, you could use a bunch of external hardware, but that means more panel wiring, more potential points of failure, and you're probably introducing latency. On the other hand, you've got plug-in modules. They literally just click right into the controller. They share that high-speed backplane for super fast communication, and they keep your panel architecture clean, simple, and reliable. It's a total night and day difference in complexity. And I love this quote because it absolutely nails the benefit. As an engineer, this is exactly what you want. You get to keep the small footprint and low cost of a Micro800, but you give it the specialized muscle of a much bigger, more expensive PLC for those one or two things it really needs to do well. Okay, so let's meet the actual tools for the job. In section 3, we're going to introduce the Spectrum Controls 2080SC series. Think of them as 5 purpose-built tools designed specifically for the Micro800. First up, the BACnet module. This is your golden ticket for integrating with building automation systems. We're talking HVAC, lighting, all of that kind of stuff. Next, we've got the IF4U. It's a universal analog input module, and this one is an absolute lifesaver when you're dealing with a mix of different sensor types on one project. Then there's the NTC module. This one's a specialist. It's designed for one thing and one thing alone: direct, low-cost temperature measurement using NTC thermistors, which you can see all over the place in refrigeration and HVAC. Need to switch some serious power? The OW2i-HC is your guy. It's a high current relay module, and it's built to handle heavy loads like heaters and big contactors without breaking a sweat. And finally, the memory module. This gives your controller a micro SD card slot and a real-time clock, perfect for standalone data logging or managing recipes right on the machine. Alright, we've now met the players, now it's time for the main event. This is where we see exactly how to match the right tool to the right task. This chart really lays it all out. Let's walk through it together. For building automation, that BACnet module gives you both Ethernet and serial, and that 72-hour power backup for the clock, that's critical for keeping accurate timestamps if power goes out. For mixed sensing, the IF4U is your workhorse. It handles pretty much everything: voltage, current, thermocouples, RTDs, and, check this out, plus or minus 30 volts of overvoltage protection. That can literally save the card from a simple wiring mistake. When it's just about cheap temperature sensing, the NTC module connects directly to those thermistors and gives you a rock-solid 500 volts of isolation between the field wiring and your controller's backplane. Then, you've got the high current relay. This thing is a beast, switching 10 amps per channel. It allows you to control big loads without extra external contactors. And finally, the memory module gives you that all-important local storage on a micro SD card up to 32 gigabytes, which is perfect for offline data logging. So, we've seen all the specs, but let's bring this home with the most important part, the key takeaway for us, the system integrators. Why does any of this actually matter when you're out in the field building a real system? Well, here's the bottom line. Using these modules makes your job easier, and it makes the final product better. It's that simple. Your panel designs are cleaner, you're cutting costs because you don't need all the extra hardware and wiring, your systems are flat out just more reliable because they are fewer external parts that can fail. You're filling very specific gaps that the native stuff just doesn't cover, and all of that adds up to faster commissioning and way easier troubleshooting down the road. And that's really the heart of it. These are not generic one-size-fits-all add-ons. They are purpose-built tools. They're scalpels, not sledgehammers. You get the exact capability you need right where you need it, without overbuilding your system or paying for features you're never going to use. This whole approach really changes how you can design around the Micro800. It turns it from a simple controller into a super adaptable, really powerful platform for all kinds of applications. So, that just leaves one question for you to think about for your next project. Which capability gap are you going to close first? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to Automation Nation. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments below and one of our specialists will answer them. See you next time.